Hi, welcome to Green Geans. Come on in. My name is Gina. I work with my mother and my father and my brother. I am the freeze drying service provider. Together, we work to help increase our shelf-stable food in the state of Maine. Green Gean started 4 years ago because there was a health concern going on in my family, and I noticed that we are just not eating enough vegetables. So I was buying vegetables, learning about freeze drying, and finding out that you can eat so much quality, nutrient-dense food by eating freeze-dried food. So with that health situation going on in my family, I wanted to somehow feed my family more nutrients. And I created a soup powder, and I worked at a Fork Food Lab with my first machine. And this is the current upscale to handle the most capacity I've ever been able to accept. And this is just the very beginning. I think that Green Geans can continue to increase. You apply a special recipe involving temperature and pressure. Inside of this freeze dryer, as the temperature does not get hot as your oven or stove does, everything inside here is cold, cold, cold. And with the small fluctuation of temperature, you then get to rip the moisture out with the pressure. Inside of these trays, the temperature fluctuates slightly. There are heating mats on here. So as the pressure is incorporated directly on the food, the water inside of this food goes from frozen to gas. It does not turn to liquid, and it looks as if it is being boiled out of frozen product. As that water is being ripped out, it then gets pulled onto the barrel and is a giant ice brick that remains throughout this process until the food or product is ready to come out when the cycle is finished. When you remove water from produce, cooked products, this could inhibit growth of microorganisms and bacteria. Water allows bacteria to thrive, and when you take that away, you're kind of telling this that here it is that final packaged perfect piece of carrot or seaweed, and then you can either eat it as is or reconstitute it, so then retains the nutrient consistently in the food prior to it being freeze dried. There's a couple examples though from studies showing that vitamin C actually increases while being freeze dried, and then it holds that nutrient of vitamin C for 20 years. These are the latest edition of the upscaling of Green Geans. This is the internal cavity of both sides of these freeze dryers. You have condensers, you have compressors, you have a vacuum pump, you have a cold chamber, you have a drain valve. This is our vacuum pump. This allows pressure to be incorporated inside of the chamber. Raw and prepped, or prepped and cooked. Fermented foods can be freeze dried. I have kimchi that I've freeze dried. You could also freeze dry seaweed, sea moss, freeze dry oysters. You can freeze dry fish. You can freeze dry cooked chicken. You can freeze dry mushrooms. You can freeze dry peppers. You can freeze dry melon, herbs. You can freeze dry flowers, microgreens, freeze dry very well. Freeze dried miso is phenomenal. You can also freeze dry from more fermented foods or like caramelized onions, cooked garlic. You can freeze dry shellfish, even with the shells cracked. Done a couple projects with green crab. Pretty incredible the things that you can freeze dry. You can't freeze dry honey. You cannot. You cannot freeze dry butter. You cannot do it. It does not function properly because when you have something that has such a high fat content, it has less water. What we're doing in freeze drying is removing water. Green Geans could help facilitate others in our farming and food industry to have long-term shelf storage foods. This becomes a add value product for a farm or a aquaculture business. I would like our Green Geans future clients to understand that this is a service that can be provided. I want to make your vision become a reality. Even if we can't, I'd still like to be friends. I think what you're doing is still amazing, and